Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Mariam Alima. What do you know about Islam? Yes, we're gonna do a 1-2 hit a chicken, not chicken dinner. I don't eat chicken, but yeah, same night. I told y'all I said I'm gonna just go ahead and get back on and go ahead and finish. Dive right back into how to eat to live. Okay. So praise be to Allah. I want to greet you all with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, July 1930, to whom all praise is due forever. I further bear witness that he rose up the exalted Christ, the Mahdi, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and that with their two minds they are guiding the Messiah in our midst, our Redeemer, our light, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is in their three great names that I greet you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace be unto you. Inshallah, you came here for some peace and for some knowledge. And then we're about to dive right into how to eat to live. Ironically, first, before we get started. Okay, so I'm a part of another Zoom call. I told you about that in the last episode. Talking really fast. Sorry, just to keep up. All right, so I'm a part of this thing called the Master Call. And we meet every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And so now on Tuesdays, we are reading How to Eat to Live. And we literally just this past Tuesday started where I left off on page 39. So I'm actually like literally right on time restarting reading this book with you all. Like, this is great. Allah just, he don't miss. So if you want to join that call, I'll actually just give you, I actually know the Zoom number by heart. The Zoom number, if you want, like I said, if you want to join either Tuesday, Thursday, or Saturday, we meet at 6 p.m. Eastern, and the Zoom login number is 650-859-5917. Everyone is welcome. You do not have to be in the Nation of Islam to join those Zoom calls. We just ask that you be respectful, come in to learn. We're going to be reading this together, just discussing more when you're dialoguing with a large group of people rather than just listening to Mariam. Then it's better. It's better for me. It's better for you. It's better for everyone. Unity. Woo. Again, that number for the Master Zoom call, we meet Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. And right now we're reading How to Eat to Live on Tuesdays. Thursday and Saturday we are reading Fall of America as of right now. That number again is 650-859-5917. It's been a year, so I memorized it. It's just 7 numbers. All right, wait, 7. That's 9 numbers. Is it 7 numbers? Is it 10 numbers? Oh, it's 10 numbers. I'm tripping. I think I should just start reading. Okay, praise be to Allah. We are in book 1, How to Eat to Live, page 39. Overindulgence, the enemy. Yes, a quick trip to the cemetery if we indulge in too much of anything. It becomes an enemy to us. Remember at all times when you are eating that you are to live and not to die. As I said previously in this book, white bread and cornbread are not good for our stomachs to digest. Regardless of how many hundreds and thousands of people eat this before you 3 times a day, it is still not the food for you and me to eat if we wish to live a long and healthy life. America's people consume more sweets than any other people on the earth. They love their sweet, fat pies, cookies, and cakes at every meal. America has more bitter trouble with her health. Eating too many sweet piles up sugar in the blood, and it becomes the enemy of our lives. Our blood is our life. Just think of the way we destroy our lives by eating too many sweets or too much meat, or eating white bread and cornbread. Ask yourself that question. America is a great candy seller. She reaps a harvest of wealth on just selling sweet candies and nuts. They fill the candy full of nuts, as well as their cakes, cookies, and other pastries. The only thing with stomach enough to digest nuts is an animal. Birds love nuts, and they have what it takes to digest them. Nature made them that way. Just as horses can digest corn and anything else in their line of food, birds, squirrels, hogs, coons, rabbits, and worms can digest nuts. They can eat nuts and digest them, and they will not wear out their stomachs like yours would wear out trying to digest them. A dog's stomach and his digestive juices is like any carnivorous eating animals. He can digest a rare steak. In fact, he can digest it as soon as he kills the animal. You don't have to cook their food. They do not like it cooked. They like their meat raw. That is the way nature made them, to take it raw. People like the white people who love dogs and other animals changed their way of eating so that it is against the very nature in which they were created to eat. You cannot make him a member of your family by sitting him at the table to eat good cooked food. He will live off it, but it is not the way nature made him to eat. Try offering him some raw meat and cooked meat. He will eat the raw meat before he will eat the cooked meat. Offer a cat a piece of raw fish and a piece of cooked fish and see which she will eat first. Raw foods appeal to their appetites as cooked foods appeals to ours, but we can eat both. It is very dangerous for you whose civilization is not limited, but is limited if you follow the limited ones, to follow a civilization made by nature for a short time in their ways. This is what we have been doing, and this is what we must stop doing if we expect to survive. There are hundreds of drugstores throughout the country into which we should not go for anything except first aid if we hurt ourselves down the street or road somewhere, not for something to stop aches and pains in our stomachs caused by eating the wrong food. We should not call the doctor for such foolish and ignorant mistakes as eating the wrong food and eating it too often. We should be ashamed to call the doctor for these errors. Eating the wrong food and eating it too often starts trouble in the physical body everywhere, from the sole of your feet to the crown of your head. As I said, you do not have to eat everything that people say is good to eat. It is a fool who does that. You do not need everything that is good to eat to live a happy life. Take some of those things that are good to eat. Of course, you should have a balanced diet. I certainly agree with you there. There are several ways you can prepare your meat and bread that will give you a sharp appetite at every meal if you prepare it differently. Bread can be cooked 2 or 3 times and also meat. It is best for our stomachs and our longevity. They both should be cooked twice before eating. Of course, they will not look as fancy as when they are freshly cooked, because the more you cook them, the more the surface beauty fades away. But the more the permanent your life will be, and that good old stomach will last a long, long time if you follow it to the rest, if you allow it to rest after a hearty meal, no matter how good the meal was or how easily digested. Give your stomach 24 to 36 hours to rest to digest its food. And if you take 48 hours or 72 hours, that is fine. But first try 24 hours and then 48 hours next. Do not try to start with 48 and 72 hours. Get used to eating 1 meal a day. Then when your appetite is not so strong for the next meal, by eating once every 24 hours, start eating every 48 hours. Never start 72 hours regularly until you are able to do so. Some of us have started eating every 48 hours and 72 hours and have to change back to 1 meal a day. This is not good to do. Fast 72 hours every now and then while you are eating once every day, if you want to. Once a month or once every 2 or 3 months. Never eat more than 1 meal a day unless you are sick and unable to eat the proper food due to the weakness of the body to carry you over 24 hours. Our big problem is eating too much and too often. I repeat, the main thing in how to eat to live is to eat only once a day or once every other day. This will take care of everything. You cannot go all over the earth trying to eat everything that people say is good to eat. But give what you do eat time to get out of the way for the next meal and the effect that it probably would cause. Brothers and sisters, let your stomachs rest. Stop trying to eat 3 meals a day and all in between. That is enough to kill chickens and hogs. Anyone who eats all the time has a very short life. Our greatest trouble when it comes to sickness is due to staying at the table eating too much and too often. You have no regularity about your eating at all. Eat anytime, they would tell you. One of the gravest wrongs you could do is to eat when you do not want to. They said behind that, eat before you get hungry, which was one of the silliest things of all. If your stomachs are not asking you for food, please, brothers and sisters, do not put any in. The stomach will let you know. Wait until you are really hungry. Do not act like a pig and want food every time you see it. Nature did not make the hog and the bird with any regularity in eating. Although hogs will stop eating when they get enough, the foolish pig will never stop eating until he is sick and all but ready to drop dead. The horse will stop eating and the house cat will stop eating when it has had enough. But people will not. It is just as the old saying goes, we dig our own graves with our teeth. We drive many impurities out of our bloodstream if we do not fill our stomachs with food 2 and 3 times a day. Some Christians never fast until their doctor tells them to do so. They know nothing about stopping their eating for even 1 day, let alone for over 3 or 4 days. The majority of them are afraid to miss even a single meal. They think they will be sick from missing a meal. This is very ignorant. A dog will stop eating if he gets sick, but not some people. The doctors have to force them to stop eating so that their medicines can give good results. Your main trouble is eating too often and eating the wrong kinds of food. Time and again, I have warned you against eating that rotten, stinking pig with millions of worms in his flesh. He is the ugliest and most stinking animal. Even his house and everything about him stinks. If you cook him, he stinks. With his ugly, muddy, reddish eyes, his ugly mouth, and his ugly ears, he is just ugly. He is the silliest and most brazen animal. The devil certainly did a 100% job in turning the people against everything God said, thou shalt not do. He has made the word say in works, I shall do. Allah said these ugly animals, the pig, take away your beauty appearance. Live right, think right, eat right, and do right. You will not have to die to go to heaven to be like angels. You will be like them while you live. Why and how we fast in December? I have chosen for quite a few years the month of December for my followers to fast as in the month of Ramadan. It serves as a sign that we, the lost and found nation, are the end of all signs pertaining to the pilgrimage and fasting in the month of Ramadan. We fast the 12th month of the Christian year to relieve ourselves of having once worshipped that month as the month in which Jesus was born. It is now known and agreed upon by the scholars and scientists of religion that nothing of the kind took place 2,000 years ago. Jesus was born not in the month of December, but rather as God has revealed it, and according to the season that history claims existed in that time, the first or second week in September. The Christians have made holidays which are used mostly for commercialization. They buy wine, whiskey, and beer, and fatten up pigs and hogs for the kill, and roast this divinely prohibited flesh to celebrate what the Christians call the birthday of the Son of Man. Jesus condemned such things as drunkenness and the eating of swine flesh. The act that they carry on for the celebration of Jesus' birth is perfect for Nimrod, who actually was born on the 25th of December, according to the scientists and historians, as well as the words of God himself spoken to me. Nimrod was an enemy of God and one who came in the last 300 years of the 2,000 years of Moses. He led the white man against the laws of Moses and the worship of Allah. He, Nimrod, wanted them to worship idols in that which was other than God, as they did in ancient Rome. Let us, my followers, remember the right way. Waste not your earnings in such ways of worshiping and feasting as the Christians do. They only say and do not. They have taken for themselves the profit of God and the place of, they have taken for themselves the prophet of God and the place of God. And that's prophet with Profit. In this month of fasting, we shall keep our minds and hearts clean, and we shall not indulge in the eating of meats, land meats. You may eat fish and such fat products which come from land animals such as butter and cheese. In this month, we should keep our minds on Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, my God, your God, and my Savior and the deliverer and your Savior and deliverer, to whom praises forever for giving us life after our mental death for the past 400 years. During this month, eat before day and after the sun goes down, if you wish, but not during the daylight hours. This also goes for drinking. Drink whatever you are going to drink either before dawn or after dark. The eating before dawn is for those who, of us, love to eat breakfast in the mornings. But if you eat one meal a day, you may eat that meal either before dawn or after dark. It is better for your health, however, to eat one meal after dark. Keep up prayer, and let us all be grateful to Allah for His coming in the person of Master Fard Muhammad throughout the month of December and every month. And during this month, let there be no quarreling or disputing in our homes or abroad. The food and its eater. Neither I nor you can thank Almighty God Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad enough for going after that very mainspring of life, that which everyone loves to keep as long as he possibly can. Even animals, beasts, insects, fowls of the air, and fish of the sea want to keep their lives. And I do not care how good a Christian you are, or how much you would love to see Jesus, or how much you would like to go to heaven to see Jesus and to sit down beside him, as the Christians teach you will do. You never make any preparations to hurry to go out of this life to find another life. The very law of nature teaches us to hold on to this life and to not let it go if we can help it. We only know of this life and not any other life. You strong Christians and lovers of life beyond the grave and life somewhere in the skies that you imagine, never prove to anyone that you would like to leave this life for that life by killing yourself, or telling the doctor not to come to administer medicine or any aid that he can give when death is approaching. Whenever death approaches, you want it to go back and let you stay. In view of that, the best thing to do is to try to preserve and keep this life that we have, and know as long as we can go, we cannot stay here. The only way that we can have life, keep life, and to prolong life is by what we eat and how often we eat it. This is the way of life. The Bible teaches us that God will prolong the lives of the righteous. But there is no God who can prolong our lives without checking on what we eat and how often we eat it. We must not be confused, I repeat, with the various advice offered to us from the modern day food and medical scientists. If you take their advice and try to eat all of the different kinds of food cooked in their many different ways at all different times of the day, and their many different suggestions on how much you should eat, you will most certainly die. Brothers and sisters, I repeat, it will most certainly kill you, with the exception of the Orthodox Jews' food, which is good. According to the history of the white man, by the Almighty God Allah in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever for his life-giving words, teaching and guidance for us, the lost and found members of the aboriginal black nation, the white man began eating meat. They had no stoves and cooking utensils as they had today, when they were driven out into the confines of the hills and cave sides of Europe. They ate animal food, beast food, and whatever they could get of flesh to eat. This race, with all of its modern scientific knowledge of how to grow food and receive the best food the earth produces, are still great flesh eaters. They have taught the world of man to eat as they eat. Their medical scientists have learned that meat hastens and destroys the life of man, but they practice eating the very worst meat, the poisonous, filthy swine, wild birds, wild fowl, and any and every of any kind, and even reptiles. and teach man to eat it. To follow them in everything they eat and drink means that you are absolutely inviting death, even to seafood. They drag out in their nets the very scavengers of the water and advise you to eat it because they eat it. We must remember that this race is conscious, that they are not to live on this earth very long. Therefore, eating poisonous food and drink and eating 3 and 4 times a day will take you along with them very fast. This is the secret knowledge of the death that they cause us to suffer through foods. The poor, blind, deaf, and dumb, lost, found so-called Negro will eat and drink anything he sees his white master eat and drink. But I want you to stop doing this ignorant thing and eat the right food that you will find in this book, and eat only once a day. I do not care what kind of work you are doing. Eat only one meal, a good meal, once a day. If your work is light office work or light housework, you could eat once every other day if you wanted to without any hindrance. Once you get used to it, your stomach will only ask for a meal at the time that you have trained it to eat. In regard to you who suffer from sugar diabetes, fasting and staying away from sugar and starchy food is far better than having your limbs cut off your body because your foolish carelessness in eating sweets and starchy foods all times of the day. Cut out that sugar. Do not use any at all. Use honey, but not a whole bottle full at one time. If you have too much sugar in your blood, be careful not to eat any sugar of any kind until you get it out. Some doctors will tell you that you have low sugar, but just tell them that you will have high life. But just tell them that you will have high life in you. Do not eat any potatoes, beans, and bread. Eat vegetables. You may eat chicken if it is raised away from filth. There are poultry raisers who raise chickens in clean places and give them good food such as corn, oats, and other little grains that are not harmful to the chicken or to us. They also give them bread and milk. You do not have to fear eating chickens like these, but if you can do without eating any kind of flesh, that is fine. Whole milk that is clear of TB, tuberculosis, germs is best for us to drink. But if we cannot get whole milk, we can drink the milk that the dairies have, but we should boil it at a certain temperature in order to kill that problem germ. Drink plenty of milk and eat butter instead of so much of that artificial butter made of vegetable fat, and you will have better health. And we are ending today's reading on page 50 because that's where we ended in the Master Zoom. So if you were to join the call, you'll be able to be right on time with us. All right, so recapping. Obviously, as we've been talking about the whole entire book, and as we know, within the Muslim and Jewish community and other communities, some Orthodox Christians, that the flesh of the swine is prohibited. Family, just let it go. If you are eating swine, do all that you can to get it out of your life and its byproducts. The gelatin, you're gonna have to start doing research on all the words that they are putting in place of swine. Like, I wish I had the list in front of me. Inshallah, the next episode for How to Eat to Live, I will bring up a list of all of the different terms that they're now masquerading as, something else, when in fact it's actually just swine byproduct. I mean, the devil is wicked. The enemy is wicked. I mean, Shaitan is Shaitan. He's not called Shaitan because he's your friend. He's called Shaitan because I didn't have anything around with that, but whatever. You get the drift. So also you don't have to eat meat. Let's give up the line to meat. Honestly, what's funny? Most everything in the grocery stores today is poison. It's hard for you to find anything of good in the grocery stores, which, yes, if you can start to plant your own vegetables, get yourself a small garden, do what you can while you can. That's funny. It's making me think of canning. I'm supposed to be canning. I'm not going to get on that, but I am going to get on candy. I'm just not going to get on that subject, but yes, I'm going to can. But honestly, yes, start yourself a garden. If you cannot start yourself a garden. Do all you can to start yourself a garden. But obviously, I mean, I go to the grocery store as well. But the fact is, what he continuously tells us, because the food was poisoned back then too, is more poisonous now. But allowing your stomach to rest by eating 1 meal a day and fasting regularly, your body won't be able to build up the toxins that's within the food. So don't stress don't stress your mind too hard on like, oh Lord, what am I to buy? Of course, continue to buy vegetables and be proactive in researching on what they are putting certain things in right now. Like there was an article, it was actually from June of 2020, that they were thinking about, they ain't thinking about it, heck, if they put the article out there, they now already did it. But they put the vaccine, which, of course, don't take the vaccine. I don't know if I ever said this on this platform. The vaccine is death. Never take the vaccine. Don't do it until the Messiah say, take this particular thing. We not taking nothing. But they were putting the vaccine into tomatoes. So we know, yeah, they poison food. Like the food is poison. But allowing your stomach to rest from the poison, rather than putting poison on top of poison on top of poison thrice in one day, you eat, unfortunately, the poison once a day and allow your body to get rid of it the natural way that it does. So, inshallah, you all were able to gain something from this reading, and I know I was. And inshallah, I will be back to further the reading very soon, meaning like next week. Weekly. We're going to do it weekly. Mariam. We're going to do it weekly. So I thank you all for tuning in again to another episode of Mariam Alima. What do you know about Islam with How to Eat to Live, book 1. And I leave you as I came before you in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. And until next time, peace, love, and light.